Hey guys, good morning. Happy Friday. It's Daryl here. It's 4 a.m. bright and early here in Connecticut on the East Coast. The reason I'm laughing is because I've had to start this video several times. I've got a lot of thoughts and I'm trying to tie them all in together because it's very clear in my head, this hypothesis that I've had. I've had this idea, this hypothesis for 4 or 5 years. And it's a tough thing. It's a tricky thing to talk about. It's about size. Size. I'm tall. I'm a tall guy. Let me tell you about my youth. Back in elementary school, I lost my dad when I was 9. I grew up with my mom and my sister. My dad told me that I was going to be the man of the family to protect my mom and my sister, which I took to heart. I did. I had a lot of size to me. I was 6'4" at my tallest. With my back surgery, I've actually shrunk to 6'3" or so. I was 6'4". I'm 6'4". I was almost 300 pounds at one point. But back in elementary school, I remember several times I was kind of on the outskirts. I wasn't with the most popular kids. I had a few close friends that I'd hang with. But I remember the popular bunch coming over and using me. I remember them making a snowman one time, and they needed a strong person to lift that second snowball on top of the first snowball and then the head on top. And they came over and got me to help lift that second big snowball up. And then I was kind of shunned back to my corner of the playground with my one or two close friends. I remember I had an Albanian friend. I had a Pakistani friend. And we were kind of we weren't the most popular. But I had good friends. I loved my friends. But I wasn't the most popular. I remember softball. I remember kids wanting me on the team. I'd be picked almost last, and they'd always cheer when I got up to bat because I would hit that ball. I had strength to hit the ball into the next field, but I was very poor when it came to my skills. Probably growing up without a dad. I'm not here to cry about that or anything, but I felt like I was being used for just one part of myself, my size, my strength. And in my heart, I always felt like these people were missing out. It was their loss because there was a lot more to me than just, my size or strength. There was a lot more to me, my heart. I'm a smart guy. I'm creative. There was so much more to me, and I always thought it was their loss. Okay, now with that attitude, I'm going to move up to just recently. Now, looking at Trump supporters and the people that stormed the Capitol, I was reading a story today on how they were pickup artists. If you look here on YouTube, there's several stations where they have these guys. And the funny thing, if you find out more about these guys that run these channels, they live in their mother's or their parents' basement, or they're single, or they're divorced. But these are pickup artists, self-proclaimed pickup artists. And they talk about how to pick up women, how women are like targets. And there's YouTube channel. If you Google or if you search on YouTube pickup artists, you'll find them. And there were several of these guys in the Capitol protests. I got to be careful with the words I use. Back on January 6th, there were several of these YouTube people in that crowd, and that made perfect sense to me. I watched this video over the weekend. Craig Robinson, one of my favorite actors, and I laughed through this video. Now, there was a couple parts in this video that I almost could relate to. Now, I'm not inferring or insinuating anything about myself or my size or anything like that. But there's several times in this video when the little boy, was approached by a German girl, and she asked him about if he had large privates. And I kind of, and he seemed hurt by it. He's like, what? And the dad kids around about the kid, and it seems like a joke to them, It's this thing that we've heard nobody talks about. This you could call it an urban legend, you could call it innuendo, you could call it truth. I don't know. And you know what? We all have our little talents, our little pluses. I'm very tall, but they joke around in this video about some people thinking that they have an extra large appendage. And the way this kid handles it in this video, he's kind of hurt by it when the girl asks him. Because right there I could identify with him. And not because I'm not saying that, I'm not bragging or anything like that, but back when I was used for my strength, or my height, when I lifted up that snowball, it's like they only wanted to use one part of me, that one part, and I felt like they were losing out. Because there's so much more to me. And I could identify with this kid, I could identify with that hurt. Because these people a lot of people look at you and they just see this one thing that they could use, and for that second, I started picturing this stuff. Then I started thinking about Donald Trump and these Trump supporters with their signs, and how I look at these guys waving around these flags, and for the life of me, I can't figure out how they're not only supporting him, but they're proud of themselves supporting them. And then it all started to click, because there's also a lot of racism in these people. And I'm going to be flat out honest with you. I think it all comes down to this perceived insecurity. A lot of these guys, I think, are insecure when it comes to size. And that's why they support Donald Trump. Donald Trump has this history of dating supposedly gorgeous models. He talks about them all the time. We've all heard him about how his daughter's beautiful. If it wasn't his daughter, he'd be dating her. And it all clicked right there. And how these same people seem to be very untrusting of different colors, or people that aren't the same skin color as them. And it all started clicking, as maybe it's all so simple that it's an insecurity. It's a basic insecurity when it comes to women, to themselves as men. And like I said, I'm not sitting here, don't get this video wrong, I'm not saying anything about myself. The only thing I said I could relate to this is, how I was used for my strength and my size when I was a kid, and it all started clicking. Sometimes people look at you and they fear you. They fear, like, I think there's a lot of Trump supporters out there, and I've always believed this, that they feel they're going to lose their women to different color races because of this legend they've heard about people of color. And nobody talks about this. Nobody. You won't find this anywhere else on YouTube. But we all know it. We all know it's in the back of our heads. We do. I think this goes back to the 1800s, the 1700s, when there was slavery, and the way that whole system. We see these stories like with Roots and others, The Color Purple, and different movies. I think it's been a basic insecurity with some men. And then it all started clicking, that the people that support Donald Trump seem to have this underlying insecurity. You talk about the P-Boys, right? And it's this group that almost seems to have a little too much bravado, machismo. And plus, their whole point is that they want to make being a white guy cool again and macho, and they feel that that there's prejudice against them, reverse prejudice or whatever. But I think it comes down to this basic fact that a lot of these guys are insecure, that they feel like they're gonna lose their women. And then, like I said, it all clicked when I saw the story of these pickup artists. There was this inordinate, this oddly bizarre large amount of these pickup artists from YouTube in with the Capitol people, the protesters, back on January 6th. And I found that odd. If you look at these pickup guys' pages, they, like I said, they talk about wingmen and target lines and how to target women. And it's so ridiculous. They look at women as targets. And I think they're one thing I've learned in recovery, I learned this when I went to one of my first NA and AA meetings, when I sat there and I listened to the whole room talk, one after one. Old people of different color, different races, different sexes, everybody, young, old, all sitting around a room, 40 different people, all different, all describing their story, but not only their story, but how they lied to themselves, how they perceived themselves, how they lied to themselves about being able to get away with drinking a little too much or using this substance, and the lies they told themselves and the insecurities they had. And as I sat there, I realized, oh my God, we are all exactly alike. Before that, growing up, I remember thinking, I'm different. I'm a little smarter. I'm a little this. I'm a little that. But during that period, I remember we're so much alike. And that's when I realized that You don't need to have pickup lines. You don't need to be this or to put yourself on display as being this or that, or using these different techniques. Just be yourself, because other people see that. They're just like you. We click. We all think the same. That's where I got this thing with empathy too. When I don't agree with somebody, a lot of times I put myself in their position. And why, if I were them, how would I look at myself? It's a hard thing to do sometimes. But anyway, I hope I tied this all together. I think this is why people support Donald Trump. I think a lot of men that support Donald Trump, that proudly support him, do that because they perceive him as a macho guy that gets a lot of good-looking women. And they feel kind of insecure about their white manliness. I truly believe this, because there's got to be a reason why these seemingly smart people all across, people in my town, across the country, would proudly say they support somebody that is so obviously arrogant and narcissistic and lacking in intellectual capacity as Donald Trump. There has to be an underlying some quality in him that they see as that they want. And I think I finally found it. Something that patches that hole in their insecurity. I hope I tied this all together. And with the Proud Boys, I said their name, and Donald Trump and everything today. You guys stick around. I'll be back later with another video.